August 6th, Shelby County voters will decide on a new county mayor, sheriff, clerk, commissioners, school board members, and judges, among other races. Now, key races in the state and federal primaries include state Senate and House seats, congressional races for the 3 newly drawn districts in Shelby County, and the governor's race. We'll go ahead and open it up to the table here. We do have graphics for various races, but we'll just get into talking about them. So, Otis, I want to start with you. Let's start with Shelby County's general election. What is the key race to watch there?
Well, obviously, people are going to be watching, and I am, the mayor's race, just to see if the Republican nominee, John DeBerry, has any chance of winning it. And frankly, at this point, I don't see that he does. And of course, the sheriff's race. People are going to be watching that just because of all the issues around the sheriff's race. But also on that ballot, that hasn't gotten enough discussion are all those judicial races. And we need to encourage voters to pay more attention to that. It is somewhat difficult sometimes to get the kind of information that you really need on the judicial candidates just because there's not enough media attention given to them. There may be some many profiles on websites, but not the kind of deep vetting that used to go on back in the day when the newspapers really had the ability to do that. But I really do hope that people pay attention to the judicial races.
Well, but I do think the Shelby County Democratic Women last night had a judicial forum, so anybody that was interested in coming out and learning about these judicial candidates had an opportunity. We've got 150 candidates on various ballots. Right, so that's a lot to do your research on. But to Otis's point, I really do think key races, mayor's race. I talked to Democratic candidate for county mayor, Mikhail Lowry, yesterday. He's not taking anything for granted. He's working his butt off. Let me just say that. He is working really hard because he knows John DeBerry, although I believe Mikhail's going to win, former Democrat, now Republican, and a lot of older Democrats really do like John DeBerry. So, so Mikhail's not going to take it for granted. He's going to work really hard. I think the clerk's race is an important race. Dr. Lasagna Hall is working really hard. She could be a transformer in that office. And so those are some of the key races that I know people are looking at.
And I think the key for the Republicans is the turnout, particularly in the outlying areas in Collierville and Arlington. Voter apathy is prevalent in those areas. Voters, they need to, if they want to change government, I say vote and change who runs government. And if they don't get out and vote, then they should sit back and just take what they get.
Right. It was around, what, 15% for early voting in the primary?
16%.
16, okay.
In the Shelby County primary?
Back in May.
And that was to be expected.
And I'm predicting.
And even that was higher than what
it was.
I'm going to make a prediction.
30,
my over-under is 30%, and I'm taking the under.
I need to make a little graphic every time you make a prediction so we can.
Yeah,
I'm pretty right. You know, I've got every Republican primary right.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be slightly higher than 30%.
Okay, you're taking the over.
I'm taking the over.
All right.
And the reason I am is because there's just a lot of anger out there. And you were talking about turnout, what drives it. I think there's a much more of a driver for Democrats than they are for Republicans.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the apathy among the Republican voters.
Right. And I think Democrats, even while some of them may wait till November, they are going to flex their muscles here now because they want to pick the candidate that can go up, especially in those congressional races, that can go up against the Republicans who have been gerrymandered to have an advantage. We'll see if they really have an advantage with a heavy turnout.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, let's talk about the congressional districts. We see 8 on there, but I want to start with 5 real quick. Andy Ogles, the incumbent, is in that one, going up against Dr. Charlie Hatcher, who's a state agriculture leader. But then there's also on the Democratic side, we've seen a really big campaign with Chaz Mulder, the Columbia mayor, and we also know Councilwoman Yolanda Cooper-Sutton is also on there, as well as other Memphians as well. So I just, how do you all think that Chaz Mulder's campaign is coming along, Councilwoman Yolanda, or any of those names on this list?
I think I think, go ahead.
Well, I would just, on the Chaz Moulder, I think he's running a strong campaign. He's raised almost $2 million.
That's a lot.
He's been coming to Memphis and ingratiating himself into our community here. The Republicans need to wake up and realize he's a formidable candidate.
We've talked about him before as well, and Andy Ogles, we did have him on. We've had Chaz Moulder on as well. Andy Ogles mentioned something just about the numbers, just playing a numbers game with this district, District 5, that it seemingly came off that even if everybody in Shelby County in District 5 came out and turned out, the large part of the district will really be in his favor.
But I think about what Chaz Moulder has is he has electability. You know, a small town mayor, went to law school here in Memphis, but still, he really does have a political pedigree. Think about his father-in-law, who was a former state legislator, current mayor of Ripley. I mean, he's been married for 20 years. So it's like, you know, he does have, I think he can relate to small town, rural areas as well. And so I think, you know, Congressman Ogles needs to watch out. If Chaz Moulder makes it through the Democratic primary, I think he'll have tough competition.
And to that point, Congressman Ogles' comment about the numbers being on his side might be appropriate if he were a more pleasing candidate. He is not a pleasing candidate. And we've talked about it on the show. Investigation after investigation, comments that were considered by some to be racist. You know, he is just not an attractive candidate at all. And I mean, there's no guarantee that he'll beat Hatcher. We were talking about that before the show started. But if he does, it gives Chaz Moulder a better chance. And I think that is the one race that Democrats can pick off.
I think there's a couple of other ones Democrats might be able to pick off too now, Otis.
Okay, right. I'm not saying they won't. But
you know, let me just say with 9, you know, who do you have in town? I know we taped the show on Friday and it airs on Sunday, but you have Justin Pearson, who has, you know, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley in town, Congresswoman, you know, AOC, but then you got, you know, Senator London Lamar, who also has major endorsements. She's Congressman Steve Cohen, but also Congresswoman Amelia Sykes out of Ohio, Congresswoman McIver out of New Jersey. So this is a good opportunity, and I do think a lot of people like Senator Brent Taylor. He was endorsed by the president.
Trump.
But I do think coming out of this Democratic primary, I think that Brent's probably going to have a tough race in District 9. I agree.
Well, we'd like to hear from you.
Well, I don't agree with that. As I've said constantly on this show, I think Brent Taylor and David Kustoff, they're a shoe-in. I mean, they can't sit at home and not do anything, but they're running their campaigns, and I think as long as they run their campaigns, they're going to win their seat.
I disagree with Scott about being a shoe-in. Now, he may be, I'm talking about Brent Taylor, he may be slightly favored, but I honestly, in the primary, the endorsement from Trump helps. In the general, and especially with the way things have gone in this country for the last 2 years, with if gas prices are $4 a gallon on November the 1st, he's in trouble. I'm talking about Brent Taylor. So it's not a shoe-in at all.
Okay, well, for the sake of time, we're going to have
So that's 2 bets we have.
For the sake of time, we're going to talk more about Trump's endorsement of Brent Taylor, as well as another Republican candidate, Charlotte Bergman's very distasteful Facebook post about Brent Taylor, in a bonus segment, if you all would like to stay around for that.